Okay, let's start it. So, at the first stage, you're gonna have to start laying out your ideas of what the character should be. On this one, the dark Valkyrie. Um, it's a good idea if you have like a thumbnail first, and this one I have a thumbnail and a sketchbook, which is like a sort of a witch Valkyrie, like a witch warrior sort of thing, and she's gonna be dark and stuff. So at the first stage, you have to do the construction line of whatever the pose you can have. On this one, I start drawing a head, torso, and down there it's legs and hips. It's gonna be a really rough drawing. If I'm doing like a finished painting with concept stuff without having a finished sketch, I will just do a really rough drawing in Photoshop. It's faster that way, and I could finish that within like a day. But sometimes if I have drawn like some refined sketch on sketchbook or rough sketch that I really like, then I'll just scan them in and do the layer in Photoshop. So at first stage, I usually use like a 50% black brush, round, just a regular brush, hard edge, and I'll have a black background layers and a transparency on top of it, which is I'll put it in the folder, and you find out why am I putting that on the folder later on. So now I'm just kind of sketching out the really quick ideas of that. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. So I'm just when you do the rough sketch, trying to figure out the form, and if it's a character design for video games or for illustration, video game, that's what I do the most, character design for. I try to first, you have to consider a silhouette of a character, what kind of silhouette that you can give her that make her look interesting, and then the stands and stuff, you have to kind of lay out so that it looks clear to the person who is going to make a 3D model of it. And or if you use it as a some sort of a model sheet and stuff for your comic book or illustration, just make a distinguished silhouette and make it clear. So on this one, I'm just kind of drawing a really rough sketch and trying to figure out things and pose. On this dark Valkyrie tutorial is gonna be a really static pose. I might put a little curvy here and there, but not so much, because I didn't want to do a dynamic pose on this one, because it's supposed to be like a concept looking kind of thing, and you will have to make a person who take the concept and be able to look at it clearly, what part is what. And sometimes you make a model sheet on the side view and back view, but most of the time we might not have the convenience of time to do all the view for the characters. So and most of the artists, they want to add some of their input. I had the leg right there, and then now I think I'm gonna change because the silhouette looked too simple, so I just add like a long drape skirt like on this side instead. But I was getting at, you have to be able to clearly define what section and what part of whatever it is, and sometimes the artist will just take the main element or whatever you have, and on the side view they might be able to guess what it is, and on the back view they might be able to model and design their own that make it matches your initial design. So now I'm using another layer, multiply and add some black 30% color onto this thing to make it to make the composition and trying to set up the mood and the lighting and stuff. And now I add another layer and do another black. So the reason I do the multiple layer and add black because sometimes if you make a mistake, you can just delete that layer. It's just like a trial and see if it works. And if the color go, the values off and it's go wrong, then you can just delete the layers. And also, when you work on the top layer and just work on a certain part, you can just delete, like what I'm doing right here, on the one that you just add, and it will still maintain whatever it is on this layer down here, and you can go in and fix that. And then usually I don't work in so many layers, but sometime in the beginning stage I like to do that so that I have a clear cut of what can I tweak and what can I fix before I merge them all together. But on the midway, I'll just like merge them all and add them at a time. I don't like having a bunch of layers because it's getting confused sometimes. So now I'm just trying to define the silhouette by adding the value onto the character to make it stand out from the background that's already gray. And when most of the concept artists, when they design, usually you don't really see them design in the white background because it's hard to pull off and it's not really flattering. But sometimes they'll just design the whole thing and then they'll just erase the background or paint all the background white. So when they print out, it doesn't waste a lot of ink and it's easier that way. But it's kind of makes sense to paint in the mid-tone value as a background. So now I'm trying to still like working on the what you call underpainting and adding value and trying to find the way that I could add a big detail, big shape. As you see, this here value can be separate in like three value, like the light and the mid and then the dark, which is if you squint then it's very simple. It's nothing. You have to make the simple start first and make it as simple as it could be, and your illustration will be easier to read. And now I get sort of okay. This is what I'm looking for this stage. And now I merge everything together, and then make another transparency layers and trying to adding some more stuff in the background, or make an additional scene a little more interesting, and trying to make a focal point going down to which the character will be the focal point on around her face and her chest. So now I merge the monochromatic layers into this, and now I'm putting another layer, the overlay layer, and trying to test out the color and see if this color will be the color scheme for me. And I usually do, if I have light source, which is the warm light right now, yellow and red, my underlight source or the shadow source would be cool. So if you have a warm light source, then you have a cool shadow. If you have a cool light source, then you have a warm shadow. So it's kind of worked out that way. It's a rule of oil painting. And so now I'm trying to figure things out, and this color scheme seems to work fine for me. So I think I'm just gonna keep it. And now I'm making another layer, which is a screen, to trying to get the lighter value of the pictures, and just kind of going in there. I'm not doing anything detailed in this stage. I'm just going around and trying to figure out the big shape. And now I'm trying to playing around with her skin tone. I'm gonna make her skin tone a little more pale, evil looking, and sort of cold-blooded kind of warrior witch stuff. And I have another overlay layer so that if I want to add the additional color, I could do so. So after I got everything together, I merge again, and then